Good morning, YouTube. Motomaster X5 here. I find myself in the awkward situation of having to apologize for not making any videos in a while after saying I was back like multiple times in different videos. And I do have a good excuse. Now, it is an excuse, but it's a decent one nonetheless. Those excuses actually being two excuses. Actually, almost three. Not quite. I'll go with two. One, newborn baby. She's about 4 months old now. Doing great, by the way. But two, I have a close family member who, I'm gonna go this way, has been having some major health problems the last month and a half or so. And it's been tough visiting them, watching them degrade and watching their health decline, rather, not them degrade, and just they've been not doing so well. So me and my sister have been visiting them a lot, so I just haven't really had a lot of time or motivation to be recording videos, unfortunately. But I want to get back on the train. Want to keep moving forward. But that's my excuses. Again, they are excuses, so I don't like giving excuses, but there you go. At least I'm not just being a slacker and not releasing videos to spite you guys. But today's topic, sometimes I have topics on occasion, and I usually don't plan them out very well, so I apologize if this is just all over the place, but hey, that's what you guys like about me, right? I'm very impromptu. Don't really usually plan my videos out in advance or have a script I'm reading from. I just kind of have a thought and I go with it. But today's video is going to be about the best mod for your car. Now, you're going to have to bear with me on this one. What if I were to tell you the best mod for your car isn't even anything you do to your car? Now, you stumped? You intrigued? And no, it's not driver mods, although I would actually argue that if you're going for track performance, that is probably the best mod for your car. I love it when I see people saying like, oh yeah, my car can do this around the Nürburgring, or my car can do 0 to 60 in this. It's like, it can, but can you do it while you're driving it? That's another topic. So the best mod for your car, in my opinion, to keep it fun and exciting, is another slower vehicle. Now you're probably thinking I'm crazy. Ooh, that light's green. We gotta make that light. We gotta make that light. Ooh, we're making that light. Yes, we is. You like my grammar? Yes, we is. Yes, we are. We are making that light. But, so, I'll tell you exactly why I think the best mod for your car, at least in regards to keeping it fun and exciting, is another slower car. Now, no matter what vehicle you have, how fast and exciting it is, unless you never push it, or you don't push it very often, you're gonna get used to it. No matter how fast it is, I mean, maybe within reason. I'm sure if you had something that's insane to the point where it's literally almost killing you when you accelerate, but in my experience, you get used to whatever power you have. So, good example, a few good examples. My WRX, when I had that, I got that from a Chevy Cobalt, and I'm just going to turn that off for now because that's going to be annoying. Got that as an upgrade from a Chevy Cobalt, and it felt pretty, it didn't feel like insanely fast, but it felt pretty fast when I got it, my WRX. And honestly, within a few months, it just felt like my car. It didn't feel all that quick. I knew it was faster than most cars on the road, but it didn't feel that fast. stepped down to the Mazda 3, and it actually did feel like a pretty significant downgrade at first, speed-wise. But after I got used to it, again, just feels like my car now. It doesn't feel slow. It has days where it feels kind of slow, hot, humid days, but that's normal with any car. You lose some power when it's hot and humid out. At least I feel like you do. Maybe it's all in my head. Another good example is bikes. My first bike was a Yamaha FZ6R 600 Sport Touring bike based on an R6, but with a detuned motor. I think it's putting out around 67 or 70 horsepower instead of the R6's like 100. And it weighed a bit more, you know, so it was a little bit slower, but it was still a fast bike. It would still do 0 to 60 in I think like around 4 seconds. Somewhere between 4 and 4.5 seconds, I want to say. Do 130 or so indicated. It was still a pretty quick bike, and when I got it, it felt fast. After riding for not even a full year, it just felt normal to me. Again, it made my car feel really slow, getting back in my car from riding the bike. And then I went and upgraded from the FZ6R to the Daytona 675, the Triumph, that you guys didn't actually see very often, but I did do a couple of motovlogs on it. And oh man, when I first test rode that thing, opened the throttle on the highway, it felt like the sky was opening up and I was getting like pulled into another dimension or something. It was just crazy, the acceleration on it. Going from, you know, a 70 horsepower bike about to a 128 horsepower bike that also weighs almost 100 pounds less. Massive difference. Massive. It was nuts. But you can already guess what I'm going to say. Fast forward to me riding that bike for about, I think it was about a year of me riding it, maybe a little less. It started to just feel normal again. And like I said, it's not like the bike actually got slower. It was still really a very fast bike. The thing would do 0 to 60 in 2-point-something seconds, allegedly, like I said. Like I was saying earlier, I don't know if I could make it do that. Point is, I'm trying to argue it was a very fast accelerating bike. Top speed of 164 indicated, probably closer to 155. And yeah, got used to it. Still felt quick to me, but it didn't feel like that, you know, bat crazy acceleration that it had when I first got it, even though it actually didn't get slower. It was just me adapting to it. So this leads into a couple of weeks ago. My car needed its rear brakes done really bad. One of the rear caliper slide pins got corroded somehow and seized up, caused one of the rear pads to go bad. And all the pads were kind of bad anyway, so they were due to be done anyway. But it was making a really horrendous noise. And I'm gonna cut until we get going again. I don't like talking at lights, it's boring. Yeah, that rear brake was making a very horrendous noise. And I mean, I'm pretty mechanically inclined, but I don't have a ton of experience with brakes. I'd only ever done them once in the past with the help of someone. So I looked at them and I knew there was something wrong with them, I just didn't know what. So I was trying not to drive my car a ton until I did the brakes, which I did end up doing myself about a week and a half ago now. But still have to do the fronts, but they're not as bad, so I have a little bit of leeway as long as I do them in the next month or so. Really? Okay, good job, Jeep. But regardless, I was trying not to drive my car much, so having a kid, you know, having a car seat in your car, they're not super hard to install, but it's enough of a pain in the ass. They don't want to be moving your car seat around. So my car seat mount is in this car, and I have access to a relative's car I can use to borrow, which she was graciously letting me do when I needed to, and I was riding the dual sport a lot too on nice days. And so seeing as how this car is the only one that has the car seat mount, we don't want to move it. I was trying to save what little life was left in the rear brakes as much as possible for obvious reasons. A lot of traffic this morning. I'm running really late too. You can see I'm supposed supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock and it's 8:40. But I'll move on to the story. So basically I was using this other car to save the life on my pads so that when I needed to move, you know, drive with my girlfriend and my daughter, we'd have enough life in these brake pads that I didn't have to worry about it. Oh man, why does this guy have to be right there? So I was driving this relative's car, which again, they were very gracious and nice to let me drive it, but it was a Hyundai Elantra. And now I know my car isn't the fastest, isn't the sportiest car, but man, I did not realize what a difference it was going from this to a Hyundai Elantra. I mean, oh my gosh. The thing was anemic, very slow. I swear, redlining the thing has less acceleration than me doing this, like just leaving it in 6th and putting my foot down. Like, the thing had no power at all. I would just be flooring it if I wanted to accelerate everywhere. It was an automatic, so kind of boring in that regard too. The thing handled pretty poorly. The tires were not the best. I mean, they're not bald, they're just not good sticky tires. The thing had a lot of body roll. The steering, oh my god, the steering was very twitchy. This won't be a rant on Hyundai Elantras and how much I do not like driving them. No offense to anyone who has one, I just personally did not like the way it drove. But the steering, so like, you know, most cars when you're on the highway, you know, you turn the steering wheel a little bit to adjust and it's fine, it's a little adjustment. That Elantra, you turn the steering wheel a little bit, the car's like freaking flying across the lane. So the steering was very twitchy, very, like, way too responsive. But then it would go into like a dead zone where it didn't really, turning the wheel more didn't do much for some reason. That's what it felt like to me. And then when you got past that, it would be very twitchy, even more so again. So the steering was weird. It made it very hard to go straight on the highway. I probably looked like I was drunk driving the car because I wasn't used to it. It was just freaking flying all over the place. And then the brakes are like weird, like they're ultra sensitive. You tap the brake and it's like putting your face through the windshield, which I don't know why people like that. I mean, it gives you the illusion of having really good brakes, but I would rather have a lot of travel. Like, I could still slam on my brakes and stop just as fast in my car, but I have a lot of travel. Like, I can put the, like, you know, pedal down just a little bit, slow down a little bit, put it down more to stop more. You know, they're progressive, good progressive brake travel. I like that. I don't want 90% of my braking force in like the first 5% of range of the pedal. To me, that's stupid. But that's what it did. Some people like it, I do not. So basically going to driving that car for a few days and then coming back to my car, my Mazda 3, the Mazda felt like a freaking race car. Like, it just felt like it was super fast, felt like it was handling on rails. It just felt amazing. So, again, there's my argument. You want to make your car more fun and exciting. Don't keep adding power to your car, because that's a never-ending rabbit hole you're going to go down. You'll add an extra 20 horsepower. It'll be exciting for a month or two. Then you'll get bored of it. Add another 20, 30. Turbo your car, get an extra 100. It'd be great for a year or so. You get bored of it again. I think that's why so many people are never done with their project cars and they always end up blowing them up. I shouldn't say always, there's people who don't blow them up, but I've met a lot of people who blow up their cars because they're always turning up the boost a little bit more, you know, trying to get a little bit more power, just a little. They think, you know, an extra 20 horsepower, extra 40 horsepower is going to be enough. And it never is. And that's where my argument comes in. Screw the never-ending race of getting a faster car. Just to drive a slower car for a few days, or own a slower car, makes you really appreciate how good your car is. Assuming your car actually is good and it's better than the one you're driving, because it'll just make you sad if you drove something that's slow and depressing and it's about as good or better than your car. But so that's my story and my rationale for why best mod for your car is just a slower other car to drive or own. Probably not own, because I wouldn't want to own that other car I was telling you about, but just drive it and you will see what I'm saying. I'm sure many people already know this, so it's not like it's some enlightening bomb I'm dropping on you guys, but that's my story. Thank you for joining me on this morning commute. It's good talking to you guys again. I'm gonna really try to release videos more often. Really, I feel bad that I always do this thing where I come back for a week or two and then I stop for a month, and it's gotta stop. I gotta just stick with it. Because I do like recording videos, but just life gets in the way. Again, an excuse. Oh, here, we're gonna hit this off ramp pretty good first. Then I'll end the video. Whee! I'm not gonna haul complete ass just because I'm not sure the state of the roads. We actually had a pretty big storm here. At least in Manlius, where I'm from. Up here, I don't think it was as bad. Shit's flying. No, it wouldn't be. Well, anyways, MotoMaster X5 signing out. You guys have a good one.